Hello, Libby Steggles-Ginn here, creator of the Emoji Coach, empowering you, the parents, to raise confident, resilient, and happy kids. Now, yesterday I was talking about connection and not perfection, and how our kids just want us to connect, have that connection with them. They're not interested in perfection, you being the perfect parent. And I have had somebody who has messaged me to say, okay, so what about the teens? Because I touched on the teens yesterday, but I didn't go into it in great detail. So I understand where this parent was coming from. Teenagers quite often can distance themselves, or we feel that they're distancing themselves, and that you can feel that connection slipping. And yet it's so important, so important to have that connection still with your teenager. So quite often teenagers make out they don't really want you around, don't really want to have that conversation with you, but yet deep down they do. They're craving that connection. So one of the things that I was talking about with the connection is it's really important to listen to your teen. And I know, all right, they don't always listen to us, but if your teenager is wanting to have a chat, a conversation with you, then just drop your tools and give them that attention, because it makes them feel heard, it makes them feel important, and that is a really brilliant way of keeping that connection going. And you're also listening out for little clues that you could be missing if you weren't having that conversation and really focusing and listening to your teen. So that's a good way of keeping that connection going. Another way of keeping the connection going is to, if you're just walking past them, just to place your hand on the shoulder or just on their back as you walk past. Because again, teenagers can get to that age where they don't really want to hug you. So they're not getting that type of connection. So just literally placing your hand on your shoulder or on your back. I quite like it if somebody in the family does that to me. My husband will walk past and just place his hand on my back as he walks past. And it's just having that connection there that makes you think, oh, okay, they're thinking about me. I know that conversations can change when they become teenagers, and I've talked in the past about using the whole brain, so making sure you're communicating from the same side of the brain as them. So if they are in their emotional brain and you're talking logic, then quite often that can end up where you end up having a bit of a clash. So make sure that you are communicating from the same page as them. And I always still, I mean, I've got a son, he's 18, I've got a daughter, she's nearly 17. But I still always say goodnight to them. Now, they stay up way beyond what I do. I like to be in my PJs by a certain time. So, but I always make a point of just knocking on the door and saying goodnight through the door. Or sometimes I'll go in and have a chat with my daughter as well. So it's those little things, and don't take things personally is another thing I'll say, because quite often teenagers can say things or do things in a certain way. If we're feeling a little bit sensitive, we could take them personally. It's nothing personal. It's just their way of expressing. So the sooner you can let things go, the sooner you can get that connection back with your teenager also. Because sometimes if we're like feeling a bit miffed that they've spoken to you in a certain way or said something in a certain way, we're holding that and we're keeping that going. So we can just move on from that. So there's a few tips of keeping the connection going with your teenager. If anybody's got any other questions that they would like to ask me, then just pop the questions in the comment box and I will answer them for you. And I'll see you all again soon.